Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dogs and cats, elves and zebras, gypsies and fairies. So, I have two subjects today. At least right now I have two subjects. The rest of the day I may have 20. But I'm going to deal with one of those subjects in this video, and then I'll make another quick video, or I don't know how quick it'll be, but I'll make another video on the other subject. So this video, the subject of this video is my persona for historical reenacting. Or should I say what I want it to be? Trying to get the camera just right, and it's kind of hard to do. See, I have to use indirect light, otherwise there's a glare. So, my persona, or what I would like my persona to be, I don't know how historically accurate, but I want my persona to be. I don't know how historically accurate it would be, and I want to be historically accurate, at least to a large extent, to a large degree. Okay, I want to be a long hunter, woods runner. Excuse me, I got something in my eye. Adventurer, explorer, guide, militiaman, skirmisher. You know, my loyalties would be with the Abenaki, the Irish, and the French. Or if I were to put them in correct order, the Irish, the Abenaki, and a distant third, but not too distant, the French. Now, I could say the Celtic people, I could add that, or I could modify one of the previous groups and say the Celts. But to say the Celts, we're really dealing with a really large geographical area, from Spain to Ireland, Scotland, Wales, France, Germany, Austria, Switzerland, Andorra, the Basque region. Now, I come from a particular generation of Spaniards who were brought up with a particular opinion about the Basque, which was not good. My views have definitely changed on that. I am from Francoist Spain, so I'm old Spanish. There's a term for us. Okay, we're called Old Spanish. There's the New Spanish and the Old Spanish, and I'm Old Spanish. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. It doesn't really matter. It only matters to some of us. And I would like to think of myself as New Spanish, but I'm not, because I come from a different generation. Anyway, see, I want my persona to not be tied down per se, not to be too heavily restricted. I want my persona to be able to travel relatively freely, and this region would be Abenaki territory. There were French, and there were definitely Brits here. There's actually a trail, I'd say less than a mile from here, or maybe about a mile from here, that, from my understanding, was originally an Abenaki trail, which is really cool. So, I mean, can you imagine dressing historically correct for a certain time period, traveling along a trail that would have been used at the same time? The trail's still there. That's really neat. I mean, to me, that's really cool. I would get to see some of the same things they got to see, such as Mount Monadnock, which is right behind us. You can see Mount Monadnock from our house. I have cat hair all over my face, and it is irritating me. I doubt you can see the cat hair, though. But I just have this thing about being a part of something, belonging to something. I can be a part of a cause, an idea, but I don't really like being a part of a group. I don't like being tied down that way. I mean, I feel tied down if I'm at least too much a part of a group. So I want to be free, independent, like a free trapper. But I don't trap. I don't like trapping. I don't hunt. I like gun sports. I like shooting at targets, but I don't hunt. And I haven't given her a name. Look, I almost called her Bessie, but I don't know anybody named Bess, so it's not going to be her name. I'm still working on it, obviously, but I did get that in. That's for the touch hole. But traveling out there with this, dressed in my historically accurate or semi-historically accurate clothing, with my historically or semi-historically accurate kit, on a trail that would have been used at the time period, 1750s, 1740s, 1750s, 1760s, roughly French and Indian War, roughly, because I don't try and tie myself down to that specific war, the 7 Years' War. But I want my loyalties to be with the Irish and the Abenaki, and third, the French. Definitely not the Brits. Me. I'm from Spain, Cadiz, España, Cadiz, Spain. But my family is, but is not Spanish. You go back from my understanding, the way I don't know, the linguist, actually I have a cousin who's a linguist. I could possibly ask her, but I don't know if that's her specialty. I don't know what information she would have on that. But the linguist, the archaeologist, or should I say more broadly the anthropologist, my understanding is that the Celtic peoples, as they were pushed out of their homeland, and the Celts would have pushed other people out of their lands, and they did. But then, new people come along, new cultures, new languages, new technology, etc., and they would have pushed the people living in a particular area out. And so the Celts got pushed further and further away from what had been their home. Southern Germany, France, Austria, Switzerland, Andorra, Basque, and we got pushed into Spain. My hometown, as a matter of fact, was once a Celtic city. My hometown, as a matter of fact, is one of the oldest inhabited cities on the planet, which is really, really cool. How many people can say that? I mean, that's really cool. So, I want my persona to somehow be a reflection of where I come from. So, the Celts were pushed down into Spain, and then they were pushed out, and they made their way to Ireland, Scotland, Wales, England. And over time, the Celts were pushed out. And I say pushed out, that's not necessarily the right way to say it, because sometimes they were pushed out, but other times they intermarry with the new people. The old people and the new people would intermarry. Other times the old people would leave and the new people would come in. Other times the old people would leave an area and it may not have been inhabited for decades or even centuries, many centuries, and eventually a new group of people would come in, or multiple groups of people would come in. Look at the United States and Europe today, and you could find this sort of thing everywhere. You have a lot of Middle Eastern people coming into Europe and North America. I say North America, I mean mainly 2 of the 4 North American countries. The 4 North American countries being Belize, Mexico, the United States, and Canada. Everything else is South America. Central America is a political division, not a physical division. But anyway, so United States and Canada, you have a lot of Middle Eastern people now. And it's not that they're pushing us out, it's that they're coming into our culture and our culture changes. But that's the way it's always been, And so anyway, I'm kind of getting off track. I'm still building this, by the way, so if you notice it's not completed. Anyway, obviously you notice it's not completed. At least if you saw the earlier part of this video. But anyway. Now, some would say, well, the Irish and the Abenaki did not like each other. Oh, really? Well, remember the Abenaki were allied with the French. And there was a very important group in the French military service. That was the Irish Brigade. There have been many Irish brigades, depending on what you want to call them, and they didn't always go by that term. But in Mexico, and I had 3 family members that fought for and died for Mexican independence, and they were members of the San Patricios, of the St. Patrick's Brigade, or St. Patrick's Battalion, and I'm very proud of that, by the way. But you had Irish who were in French military service. Many of them were in a designated Irish unit, but many others were just intermingled with French and other nationalities that were in the French military. So you have the French in North America, let's say what would today be the United States and Canada. Not really all of the United States at that time, not all of Canada at that time, because remember, what was considered far western, the frontier to the west, Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, as we would call those states today, or those areas today. Anyway, that was the extreme far west. That was way out there. So I don't really see French going as far west during, say, the 1750s. And they may have, but I doubt it. As, say, British Columbia, California, Oregon, Washington, Alaska, Yukon. I don't see them. I don't see how they could have gone that far west. Okay, as far as I know, nobody really had done that yet. Yes, there were people before Lewis and Clark that went west, but they were few and far between. There were Spaniards who went west, who went to California, or what we would today call California. There was actually, I believe, the mission furthest north was in British Columbia, Spanish mission. There's a very distinct difference between Mexican and Spanish. I'm Spanish. Anyway, I'm Spanish and Irish. But anyway, so I want my persona to be reflective of where I come from, who I am, my belief system, etc. And I don't have prescription glasses right now, so I can't really read. I use reading glasses, but they don't really help a whole lot. They help, but it's difficult because each eye is different. So, and if you buy a good pair of reading glasses, it makes a big difference versus a cheap pair. Cheap pair, even at the right magnification, can be blurry. But anyway, so I want my persona to be Irish. Pure and simple, Irish. Second, I want to be able to explore. I want to be able to go out into the mountains, go out into the forest. My affinity would be more with the Abenaki than with the Europeans. I don't want my persona to be necessarily to be a part of or a member of the Abenaki community, but I want my persona to be friendly, allied with the Abenaki on a voluntary basis, not a forced basis. What I mean by that, a voluntary basis would be I make the decision. If let's say I were, and I forget how you say this, but a French militiaman or a French regular, then I would be obligated to follow their rules, their laws, their culture, their customs. I don't want to do that. Okay? My persona can participate in militia activities, but not regular military activities. But in that context, my persona would be more of a scout, guide, skirmisher. Okay? I would work with the militia, but not necessarily be a member of a militia unit. Now, I don't know, like I said, I don't know how historically accurate this would be, but, you know, look at people like Boone. There were times he went out there. He just went out there. You know, he would go hunting. I mean, he wasn't just walking around just for the heck of it. Although, from my understanding, sometimes I think he did do that just because he enjoyed it. He enjoyed being out there in the wilderness. And so, by the way, I need to get a different ramrod. This is a wood ramrod, but there's no place to attach a cleaning jag or anything like that. So, and I would prefer a 62 caliber smoothbore or a double barrel gun, long gun, a 62 caliber smoothbore and a 40 caliber rifle. But I don't know how historically accurate that would be either. But I want my persona to be an adventurer, an explorer, not really a scientist, not really a cartographer, not a botanist, not anything like that, although my persona would have an interest in those things, but that wouldn't be my main goal. My main goal would be to live free in the wilderness, and when need be, I could go to a fort. I could go to an Abenaki community. I could go to a community of First Nations that were somehow allied with or friendly with the Abenaki, or somehow there was some sort of neutral stance between them. So they weren't enemies, they weren't at war, but that doesn't mean they were friendly, if you understand what I'm saying. But I would, from time to time, have to go to a settlement of some sort, be it Abenaki, be it European, farmstead, homestead, whatever. Because I would need to buy shot, I would need to buy powder. I mean, now shot. You know, if you were hunting, I don't hunt, but if I were hunting, I would take the ball out of the animal and I would melt it down to and recast it. But some of those balls that you fire, you're going to lose. You're going to miss, or you're not going to be able to find it. It's going to go all the way through the animal or whatever. So, and if you're a skirmisher or a militiaman, something like that, you're going to take a whole lot of shots, and you're never going to get the ball back. You're probably not going to go digging through another human being to find your lead. I know I wouldn't want to do that. And a lot of your balls are going to miss, just completely miss. And you're going to have no idea where they're at. There's a reason you can go on to, say, a Civil War battlefield to this day with a metal detector and find lead shot in the ground. Some of that would have been in somebody at one point, and they just laid there and their bodies rotted. No, I know that's kind of gross sounding to some people, but it's true. And the ball would have just fallen into the ground. A lot of times you were just in a line and you all fired in the same direction and you hoped you hit something, but you didn't always hit something. So I would need to buy lead from time to time. Gunpowder, I don't know yet if I would need to, how much of that I would need to buy, or whom I would buy it from, because you can make gunpowder. I wouldn't do it. I would think it would be dangerous, but you could make it. I don't know how good it would be. That's why you would probably want to buy it from somebody. But anyway, so I would want to take... Oh, by the way, the reason I don't want to call my rifle Bess is because that would kind of fit more with a brown Bess, and that's not what this is, not even close. But I might want to take a spyglass, pocket telescope, whatever you want to call it. I want to take some drawing pencils and a drawing pad, draw a few plants, a few animals. And part of that would just be because that's what I want to do. And there's, frankly, if I go to an event and somebody says, well, that's not historically accurate, well, boo-hoo on you, because I'm still going to do it. But so anyway, that's what I want my persona to represent, is an independent person in the forest of what today would be New Hampshire, Maine, Vermont, southern Canada, northern Massachusetts. Basically, I guess, north central Massachusetts, whatever. But that's basically it. That's what I would like my persona to represent, would be an independent person, traveling alone sometimes, traveling as a group sometimes. Because you have to understand, they're bear up here. To this day, they're a bear. They're mountain lions. So, you could get attacked and killed. You could be attacked and injured. You could be attacked and injured and not recover. But, so there were, so that's what I would like. So we'll see. Hopefully I can get some people who know a lot more than I do about this subject, and they can give me some idea as to the legitimacy of what I'm talking about or not.